Abhilash? Abhilash? Abhilash?
చెప్పండి మ్యామ్.
నేను అందరినీ మ్యూట్ చేసేస్తాను, నువ్వు ఒక్కడివి అన్మ్యూట్ చేసుకున్నాను. హలో.
ఓకే మ్యామ్. ఓకే మ్యామ్.
Good afternoon, good morning dear students. So yesterday's class about corrosion, we have discussed about the factors influencing the rate of corrosion, and also among corrosion control methods we have discussed about the sacrificial anode and impressed current cathodic method. That is, in the corrosion control methods there are many methods like proper designing, use of pure metal, using of metal alloys, modifying the environment, use of inhibitors. All these are the different methods, but we don't have these in our syllabus. We have only cathodic protection and surface coating. Among the methods of corrosion control we have only these two methods in our syllabus. So in that we have already discussed about the cathodic protection. Once again I will revise the cathodic protection because this is very very important, Nana. Today I will give you the questions related to our unit 3 assignment. That is, first thing I will give this one only because it is very important. Till now without the cathodic protection question there is no paper of JNTU, so it is very important. Listen carefully. In the corrosion control method, one of the method is cathodic protection. Generally when the metal is undergoing corrosion, anodic part will undergo corrosion, or when we are using two different metals, the metal which is having high oxidation potential will act as the anodic part and that will undergo corrosion. So here, if we want to protect our desired metal from the corrosion, then we have to convert by using any of the method. If we are able to convert that method into cathode, then we will be able to protect that metal from the corrosion. So that process is known as cathodic protection. It is nothing but, if you want to define the cathodic protection, it is the method of protecting the base metal by making it to cathode. Okay, it is known as a cathodic protection, so that we are converting the metal by force to cathode to protect our desired metal. So for that we are going to apply two different methods, sacrificial anodic method and impressed current cathodic method. So coming to the sacrificial anodic method, in this method, to make our desired metal as the cathodic, one metal, the metal which is having very high oxidation potential, that will be connected to the metallic structure to be protected. Here we are considering the metallic structure to be protected as the base metal, and to that we are going to connect the metal which is having high oxidation potential. Means that metal will act as the anode to the base metal, so that we are going to connect through a wire, so that when we are connecting the metallic structure to the more anodic metal, our metallic structure will become cathode and it will be protected from the corrosion. So after some time what will happen, the anodic metal will be completely corroded, so that we can replace that corroded metal with the fresh metal, so that again we can protect our metallic structure. So this is about the sacrificial anodic method, and by using the sacrificial anodic method we can protect the ship hulls, because ship material is made with the iron. Always ship material will be connected to a sacrificial anode, that is a piece of zinc or piece of magnesium will be added to the ship hull, so that the zinc will act as the anode, whereas our ship hull iron that will act as the cathode, and it will be protected from the corrosion. Not only ship hulls, in the boilers also, always whenever we are having the water boilers, in that one magnesium piece will be introduced, that will be hanged into the water, so that the magnesium which is hanged, that will act as the anode and it will undergo corrosion, whereas the boiler material, that is iron or steel, that will act as a cathode and which will be protected from the corrosion. Coming to the Underground pipelines generally will be having all underground pipelines, maybe of water pipeline or drainage pipeline, which are made with iron or steel. They will be having one connection with a metallic wire to the magnesium rod. To protect this iron pipe, we are connecting the magnesium rod. This magnesium is anodic to the iron, so this magnesium piece will be corroded and our iron will become cathode and it will be protected from the corrosion. This is the most important application of the sacrificial anodic method. Now coming to the impressed current cathodic method. In the impressed current cathodic method, for example, this is the pipeline, that is our base metal which we want to protect. To protect this metal will be connected to a battery. The negative end of the negative terminal of the battery will be connected to the pipeline to be protected. When we are connecting it to the negative terminal, this pipeline will act as the cathodic part, and the positive terminal of the battery that will be connected to a neutral electrode, maybe of a graphite or platinum, so that this will act as the anode, whereas our pipeline will act as the cathode. And this is also one of the method. Now when we are applying the current, then what will happen, our pipeline is, as it is cathodic, it will be protected from the corrosion, whereas the neutral graphite or platinum, that will act as the anode and it will be corroded. And again after corrosion we can replace this with this graphite with the new piece. So this one is known as the impressed current cathodic method, where an impressed current in an opposite direction, some current will be passed by using a battery. That is, that current, how much amount we have to pass is little higher than the corrosion current we have to pass by using the battery, so that our pipeline, means whatever baseline we want to protect, that will act as the cathode and it will be protected from the corrosion. So this is known as the impressed current cathodic method. So under cathodic protection we have two methods. One is the sacrificial anodic method and other one is the impressed current cathodic method. So these two methods are very important, and mostly it will be asked for maybe a 8 marks question or 10 marks question. Both the methods put together, that will be asked for 10 marks. So today I will forward you the material for the corrosion through WhatsApp. Please go through it. So now coming to the another method of protection of metals from the corrosion, that is surface coatings. Hello.
మ్యామ్ చెప్పండి.
Ma, are you able to hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. There was some disturbance in my net connection, Anna. Sorry for that. Okay, coming to the surface coatings, this is also one of the method to protect the metals from the corrosion. Don't write anything on the screen. So surface coatings is applying the coating on the metals, the metallic structure which we want to protect. On that we have to apply one coating. The coating may be of a organic coating or maybe of a metallic coating. But applying the coating on the base metal to protect that metal from the corrosion is known as the surface coatings. And surface coatings are of two types. One is the metallic coating and other one is the organic coating. Organic coating is nothing but the emulsions or paints which we are using like in our home. So for the iron grills, iron rods, that is the made of organic compounds and it is known as the organic coating. That we don't have in our syllabus. We have the metallic coating. So how metallic coatings will protect the metals from the corrosion, that we will discuss. So generally, what are the requirements for the protection that we have discussed here? Coating applied must be chemically inert. So if the coating is active, again it will leads to further corrosion of the metal. So whenever we are applying a coating, the coating must be chemically inert to the environment so that it will not be influenced by the environment. And the coatings must prevent the corrosion penetration of the environment. Means if when it is inactive to the environment, obviously it will not allow any gases or any liquids to flow through it so that they will reach the metal. So coating must be chemically inert to the environment. And one more thing is the metals. Generally when we are using the metallic coatings, the metals which are placed above hydrogen in the galvanic series, means on the top of the series, generally they will be having the high oxidation potential, so they act as the anode to the base metal. And generally the metals which are placed at the bottom of the galvanic series, they are having high reduction potentials, so they will act as the cathode to the base metal. So this is the nature of the coating metals which we are going to apply. And the factors of metal protective coatings, that we will discuss later. And here, before going to the application of metallic coatings, we have to clean on which surface we want to apply the coating, metallic coating. For that structure, first we have to clean, because it will be having some dust particles and rust particles, so that has to be cleaned. And we are having many different kinds of methods for cleaning the metallic surfaces. Like one is a solvent cleaning. So by using different kinds of organic solvents, the metallic structures will be first cleaned, so that the solvents will remove oils, grease and also rust also. So generally used solvents are naphtha, carbon tetrachloride, toluene and acetone. Generally organic solvents will be used to clean the metallic surfaces, which will remove oil, grease and also rust from the metallic surfaces. Alkali cleaning, here in this image you can observe, if we are having any oil or any paint, old paint particles on the metal, uh, generally the metallic structures will be cleaned with different kinds of alkali like trisodium phosphate, and along with the soap and wetting agents it will be used to remove the old paint particles. Now coming to the pickling and etching, this is also one of the important method, because if we are using the metallic parts for the metallic coatings, always iron, means it will be having, here you can observe the difference before cleaning and after cleaning. Before cleaning it is having lot of rust on it. So on this, if we apply the metallic coating also, it will not, the metallic coating will not stick onto the surface. So before applying the metallic coating, it has to be cleaned with all the rust particles. So generally scales and rust will be removed by using the acid pickling. Means this metallic structure will be dipped in the dilute acid solution so that the rust particles will be cleaned from the metallic structure, and again this cleaned surface will be used for metallic coating, application of the metallic coating. So now coming to the application of the metallic coatings. So here we are having so many different types of applications for applying the metallic coatings on the base metal. These are the metals which are used for applying the coating of one metal on the other metal. Metallic coating is mean by that application of one metal on the other metal. So here for that application we have three different methods: hard dipping method, metal cladding method, and electroless plating method. So coming to the first one, and this is also most important, hard dipping. Hard dipping is the process where, like, if you want to dip one, how you will dip your maybe biscuit in the tea, in the same way consider that your biscuit is the base metal and the tea which you are going to use is the uh, coating metal. So when you dip your biscuit in the tea, what will happen? A layer of tea will be sticked to the biscuit. In the same way here also for hard dipping also, the base metal will be dipped in the liquid or in the hard solution of the coating metal. Is it clear, my everyone? Once again listen carefully. The base metal will be dipped in the hard solution of the coating metal, so that what will happen, a layer of coating metal will be applied on the base metal. So here for hard dipping, generally the coating metals will be used which are having low melting point. A coating of low melting metals will be applied on the high melting metals, and the coating metals are zinc, tin, lead and aluminum on the iron. So coating metals like zinc, tin, lead, aluminum, these will be having the less melting point, low melting points, and they will be applied a coating on the iron, steel or copper. So mostly used is either iron or steel. So in this process, immersion of a metal on the bath of molten metal. Molten means liquid metal coating, so that a layer of coating metal will be applied on the base metal. And for this technique, for the hard dipping, we have two methods. One is the galvanization and other one is the tinning. So this is the process of galvanization. In the galvanization process, generally a coating of zinc will be applied on the surface of iron or steel. So this is the equipment which is used for the galvanization technique. Galvanization is the process of applying a layer of zinc on iron or steel. So for this process, before going to apply the zinc on the steel or iron, first that surface has to be cleaned. The iron sheet or steel sheet, this is the iron or steel sheet, first it will be cleaned so that the rust particles which are present or scale particles on the sheet will be removed when it is dipped in the acid pickling bath. The first container is the acid pickling bath, and which is having the dilute sulfuric acid at a temperature of 60 to 90 degrees centigrade. So throughout this equipment we will be having so many rollers. The round one is the rollers. What these rollers will do is they will be moving. When the rollers are moving, the sheet will be moved forward. So on the rollers, the always the iron sheet or steel sheet will be moving forward. So first the iron sheet, first the iron or steel sheet will be dipped in the acid pickling bath to remove the rust and scale particles. Then it will be passed into the water bath. So in the water bath, if any acid traces are there on the sheet, that will be removed by passing through the water bath. After that, the sheet will get wet. So that will be dried by passing through the drying chamber. This drying chamber is having the airflow. Hot air will be passed through the drying chamber. Through the drying chamber, when the iron or steel sheet is moving, it will be dried. So that dried sheet will be now dipped in the, this is the molten zinc bath. Means this container is consisting of zinc liquid at a temperature of 425 to 430 degrees centigrade. At that temperature, zinc will be available in the form of liquid, and that in that zinc bath, the sheet will be dipped, so that one layer of zinc will be sticked on the surface of the iron sheet. On both the sides, one layer of zinc will be attached on the steel sheet. Then it is having, the container of the zinc bath is having aluminum chloride flux. What this flux will made is to make the zinc layer firmly stick onto the surface of steel. So the ammonium chloride flux will be used in the galvanization process. This ammonium chloride will make the zinc layer to firmly stick onto the iron. And after that, the hot steel sheet will be passed through a pair of hot rollers. Here, if there is any excess of zinc is available on the sheet, that will be removed off. Then the sheet will be passed through annealing chamber. This annealing chamber is having very high temperature, maybe almost 625 degrees centigrade. At the temperature, what will happen? Both iron, zinc will form one alloy at the border of the iron. Means on both sides of the iron sheet or steel sheet, this zinc will firmly stick. So whatever the sheet we are getting out of the annealing chamber, that sheet is known as the galvanized iron sheet. So that is having zinc layer on both sides of iron or steel. So this is the process of galvanizing. Once again, I will repeat. Initially, the steel sheet or iron sheet, that is the base metal, first it is subjected to acid pickling. So that will be dipped in the dilute sulfuric acid at a temperature of 60 to 90 degrees centigrade. Then it is passed to the water bath to remove remove the traces of the sulfuric acid. Then it is dried by passing through the drying chamber. Then it is passed into the molten zinc bath, and which is having the ammonium chloride flux. Then it is passed through a pair of hot rollers, so that excess of zinc will be removed, and further it will be passed, moved through the annealing chamber.
Fan వేయాలి
Annealing chamber
fan.
to get galvanized sheet. So this process is known as a galvanization. So this is the steps which are involved in the galvanization. And the sheets which are used for the galvanization process, they will be applied as a roofing sheet, and wires, cables, pipes, nails, nuts, bolts, what we are using, buckets and tubes, all these iron materials will be having one ash color coating on that. So that is nothing but the sheet which is made by the galvanization, which is having the coating of zinc on the iron or steel. So one of the important thing that we have to remember is the galvanized sheet should not be used for storing the cooking materials, and should not be used for the utensils which are used for cooking purpose, because if the acids are present, then zinc will be decomposed. So we should not use the galvanized utensils or galvanized sheets for making the cooking utensils. And not only for that, we should not store the any kind of food in the galvanized sheet. So that is about the galvanization. Now coming to the tinning, the initial process for the tinning will be same. Tinning is applying the coating of tin on the iron or steel sheet. So from here the sheet will start. So initially we have to clean the scales and rust particles from the iron sheet by passing it through the acid pickling bath. There the rust and scales will be removed. Then again, like in the galvanization, also this has to be washed with plenty of water, then dried by passing through the drying chamber. So after drying, then the sheet, the iron or steel sheet, will be passed into the molten tin bath. So this is the molten tin bath, and through this, when we are passing the steel sheet, a coating of molten tin will be applied on both the sides of the steel sheet. Then this will be passed through the palm oil. So this palm oil will make the tin to stick firmly onto the both sides of the steel sheet. Then excess of palm oil as well as excess of the uh, tin will be removed by passing the sheet through the pair of rollers, and after that the sheet will be subjected to the annealing process again. So in the annealing process, at the border of the steel and tin, an alloy of tin and iron will be made, so that it will firmly stick, the tin will firmly stick onto the iron surface, iron sheet. So tinned sheet, generally we used to call some containers as the tins. Tin means nothing but it is having the coating of zinc on the iron or steel. So it is also widely used for coating the steel, copper, brass and bronze. And all these tinned sheets will be used for storing the foodstuff, ghee, oil, kerosene, pickles, and also used for the refrigerator components. It can be used for many of the applications, not like the galvanized sheet. It is stable, very stable towards any kind of circumstances. So tinned sheet can be used for storing the foodstuff also, because it will not have any effect with the food material. So this is the applications of the tinning. Now coming to the metal cladding. So metal cladding is generally known as metal sandwiching. Metal sandwiching means, like how we will prepare the sandwich, we will keep both the bread slices on top and bottom, and between the bread slices we will keep whatever the material we want, like food stuff, we will keep in between the bread slices, and if we press that, we can get our sandwich. In the same way, here also, for example, this is aluminum sheet. Here this aluminum sheet is acting as the coating metal on both the sides of the base metal. This duralumin is the base metal. On both sides of the base metal, coating metal, a dense and thick layer of the coating metal will be placed, and this will be passed through a pair of rollers, means to press the both sides of the base metal. This coating metals will be pressed, so that what will happen, all the three layers will become one layer, and that is known as the metal cladding. In metal cladding, on both sides of the base metal, a thick and dense layer of the coating metal will be placed, and that will be pressed to high temperatures and high pressures by using the hot rollers, so that we will get one single sheet, and that sheet is having the coating metals applied on both the sides of the base metals. Generally, for this method, the coating metals used are aluminum, chromium, nickel, duralumin, whereas the base metal is nickel, copper, silver, gold and platinum, and some of the alloys also used as the base metal as well as the cladding metal. So this is the alclad sheet, one of the important sheet which is used in the aircrafts, and that will be prepared by using the aluminum sheet as the coating metal and duralumin sheet as the base metal. So duralumin will be coated with the two sheets of aluminum, and the prepared sheet is known as the alclad sheet, which will be used for making the aircraft materials. So this is about the metal cladding. Metal cladding is the second method in the